Good morning, Year 10. Okay, so we're back again with the Game of Life scheme of work. You've looked at provisional driving licences so far. So today what we're going to be looking at is a little bit of shopping. We're going to be choosing our car. Now, as I've said in previous videos, it's really important to remember that not everybody is fortunate enough to have a car for their birthday or a car at all. We really need to be mindful of that if you're having conversations online or chatting about this scheme of work. Just bear in mind that not everybody might be in the same fortunate position that you are. Now, because in life we're dealt a hand that is kind of given to us by fate or whatever it is that you think has been dealt to us by, our wealth is one of those things. Some of our parents are very fortunate, others of ours aren't. So, in order to give us the most fair way of looking at this, I've decided to deal you life cards. Now, those life cards are judged on your name. So, if your first name starts A to J, then you are life card 1. If your name is a K to an R, life card 2. And if your name is S to Z, you are life card 3. So we're going to go by mine. Let's have a look. I'd be life card 1. As you know, my name's Hannah. So my life card means that I've got savings of £2,000. So obviously I've been building up and preparing for this moment, saving my work's money in order to be able to buy a car. My parent contribution is £0. Unfortunately, they're not in a position to give me money for my car. But I do have a monthly salary of £160 for wherever I decided to work. So the rule around this, and there are different rules for every life card, your parents are not giving you money for a car, but they have agreed to pay your insurance, providing it's less than £70 a month. Now, £70 a month for insurance is quite cheap actually. So you need to really bear in mind when you're buying a car, am I going to have cheap insurance on this? And the way that you do that is by ensuring that your car has a smaller engine, less mileage, potentially cheap to run. Okay, that's how we're going to be looking at insurance. I've got some guidelines. Cars with a mileage less than 80,000 and those that are newer are less likely to need repair work in the near future. That's something I need to think about, because if I've got £2,000 savings but I'm going to buy a car that's relatively old, I know that's going to need repair work in the future, which means, and I have to be mindful of that it's going to cost me more money. Okay, so if I'm looking, possibly if I was doing this, I'd probably looking around about £1,800 on a car. It might be that I need 4 new tyres, and if I've got a relatively cheap car, I might be looking at about £50 a tyre. That's £200 just for tyres if they need new tyres. It's worth noting as well, cars with a smaller engine will cost less on your insurance. So you're looking at something with a 1 litre to a 1.4 litre engine. Okay, so buying cars is quite complex. It's not as easy as you think it is. So what I want you to do is just take a few minutes now to write down your life card. What savings do you have? What parental contribution do you have? And what is your monthly salary? And you've got a rule. Now, you cannot break any of these rules. So if you are life card 2, don't just assume you can go get a job. You decided not to, so you haven't got a monthly salary. That's where we're at with that one. If you are life card 3, your parents are giving you £30 a month towards insurance, you need to factor that in. All right, so you need to think they won't be paying the whole insurance, they'll just be paying part of it, but they are also giving you a parental contribution. So the more you save in the money you have from your savings or your monthly salary, the better you'll be in terms of running your car in the future, because obviously it's worth noting that petrol costs a lot of money, as does your tax in order to be on the road as well. Okay, so let's have a quick look how we're going to do this. So using the information that you've just been given on your life card, you're going to shop for your first car. Okay, we're going to use the Auto Trader website. All right, so it's www.autotrader.co.uk/used-cars. You're going to decide upon your car, and then you're going to write an explanation as to why you've chosen it. All right, don't forget to take note of the license plate, because we'll be using that at a later time. Now, it isn't just a quick and easy job to be able to find your car. It takes a lot of time to be able to do this, but I want you to choose one very, very carefully. So just to give you an indicator, this is Auto Trader. All right, so if you pop on there, you can put in your postcode, give yourself a radius. So I went around about 50 miles because that's what I'm willing to drive in order to go get this car. So if I just have a scroll down, The only limits I've put on this are that it's got to be within 50 miles. And I'm going to go, so say my life card was the 2000 one, so I'm going to go, let's go up to £2,000 so I can have a look. Okay. So if I have a scroll down, okay, let's just have a quick look at these two, just so you've got an indication. So this one you've got a Ford Focus, 1.6 TDCi, a Z-Tech 5-door. So the fact that it's a 5-door, great, you haven't even got to get out when your friends want to get in the car. But it is a 1.6 engine, which means it's going to be a little bit more expensive. On the plus side, it's got an MOT up until October, which means I've got a few months without having to put it through an MOT again. And it's a 2010 model, which means it's only 10 years old. However, it does have 131,000 miles on the clock, which means it's probably going to be looking for repairs sometime soon. It's also a diesel, which means it's that little bit more expensive to run. All right, but it is only £1,250, so I have got money there to be able to fix it if it does break. So it's worth having to think about. Okay, let's have a look at this Volvo then. Try to avoid cars where they've got a category next to them. It often means that they've been written off, okay? So they've got damage that is far more than the cost of the actual vehicle. All right, so they can be repaired, some of them. So be careful what category it is. So category N can be repaired and put back on the road, but it's going to cost you a lot of money to do that. Also, it's worth noting that this one is a 1996 plate, so it's exceptionally old. It's a 2.5 litre engine, which means it's going to be huge on your insurance. But it is only £995. Okay, let's have a quick look at this one then. Down here, I've got the Renault Twingo. Now, it might not be the coolest car in your eyes. You might want something a little bit flashier. But at the end of the day, if you're looking for a vehicle to drive, and this is all the money that you've got that I've given you on your life card, then it's worth having a look at anything. They're quite cute little cars. So you've got, it's a 2007 reg. So it's a little bit older than the first car we looked at, but only 13 years, so not massively. It's done 97,600 miles, so not too bad. It's under the 100,000 mile mark. It's got a 1.2 litre engine, which means it's probably going to be cheap to run, and it's petrol. And it's only going to cost me £995. All right, so if I'm looking at those three cars there, out of those three, and there are plenty more for you to look at, out of those three, I'm most likely to go for the Renault Twingo there. So if I click on it, I can just have a look at some of the information on that there. So make sure you have a good read of it. Make sure you know what things mean if you're unsure. Just click on them. A lot of them have got helplines. Okay, if I click read more, it's got a little bit more of the information there for me. Okay, so we know that it's passed all its history checks. I can even have a look at some of the running costs. All right, so the fuel consumption, 37.7, it's quite good. Combined 50 miles per gallon, that's a nice running cost. So it's not going to be massive on petrol for you. Annual tax, £145, normally spread out over the 12 months, not too bad. And it seems to have quite good ratings from the experts and other buyers as well. So if I'm looking at that one, I'm thinking, yeah, that's not bad. I might save that one on my bookmarks. Okay, so there we go. That's what you've got so far today. Once you have chosen your car, what you're going to imagine the question on your GCSE paper is, explain why Hannah should buy the car. So it's almost like I'm trying to convince my parents that with the money they've given me or the money that I've saved, this is the car I'm going to buy. So for example, I've written it in the structure of the MEA paragraph. One reason that I should buy the Nissan Micra is that it's relatively cheap. The car costs £700, which tells me that I'll have £300 spare at the end of my purchase to search for car insurance. That's just an example. It's not based on my life card. I am a little bit better at maths than that. But I want you to write the same response once you've chosen your car. Now remember to take everything into consideration, whether it is going to be useful for useful in terms of your savings. So is it going to leave you with a nice sum of money? Is it quite low on mileage? Is it newer than some of the other cars that you've looked at? Is the engine small? So I want to think about all those things and justify it in an explain